Welcome to Cloud Dancer Speaks. I trust you're all tuned in and watching the funeral, the preparations for the great funeral of Maggie Thatcher, the dragon.
The tyrant of England.
Well, my tyrant has gone back to bed. Best place for her too.
I'll give you a tyrant.
We loves her to bits though, especially when she's asleep. All joking apart, hang on, I've got to get my goggles. Do you know I can't see you if I haven't got my goggles on? That's it, I can see you now. I know what, someone's been messing with my chair, it don't feel right. Well, I keep umming and whirling. Don't know what's the matter with me today. Oh well. I want you to consider a rose. Notice how the petals are formed. How they all relate to each other. The beautiful colours and the perfume of the rose. And its defence mechanism to stop little assholes coming and taking the blooms, so they have nasty little thorns. It's no good saying the thorns are there for insects now, is it? Because an insect would have no trouble with the thorns. Only people, animals. And since we're in the animal kingdom, as it were, we're the ones that suffer from the nasty thorns. The most perfect flower, and yet it defends itself to stop being removed. That people can't rob that flower. It relates to me how people hoard things. Their treasures they hoard, they put in safes, they hide money under mattresses, all sorts of things like this to protect so someone doesn't go and rob it. How many of you have said, oh, I wish I could win the lotto of a few million? Think about that for a minute. If you had won the lotto for a few million, as it were, that's going to give you more headaches and more problems than what you could deal with. I believe there was someone that won over 100 million. Can you imagine the gangs that would be after that? Their lives would be virtually at risk. For what? Money. They think it's going to be the heal of all heal, the cure of all cure. But it's not. It's going to be the problem of all problems. Your children wouldn't be able to go to school unless it had a permanent bodyguard following him around, or her around, whatever. You'd be worrying in case you go to work and leave your wife at home in case she's abducted. All these things would be surmountable. You're worrying about your brand new Rolls Royce that you've just bought with someone coming along and keying it or burning it out. The more you have in wealth and riches, the more problems you're going to incur. It's like being chained. You're a prisoner of of your own making. Okay, you're a prisoner in a gilded cage, but nevertheless, you're still a prisoner. And I think now of the rose again. We see the rose as a bud blossoming into great beauty. And then along comes someone with a pair of secateurs and cuts the rose. Oh, lovely, that'd be lovely for the home. The perfume's divine. Yeah. You've just robbed the plant of its beautiful asset, the rose. Now we have a rose bush out in our garden, and it's there for us to enjoy and for everyone to enjoy. And it produces the most beautiful flower. To me, it is one of the most perfection. It is the most beautiful thing. It has a beautiful scent. It looks beautiful. Its texture of the petals is absolutely lovely. And yet we'll come and cut it down. And every year when they have the cancer thing, they do the same with daffodils. They cut them down. You're destroying a beautiful plant. Its life cycle is shortened and it withers. Is it beautiful when it's sitting in a jar, withered? I've used the flowers because it's spring and soon flowers will be blossoming. We hope, if this weather gets better, it'll be blossoming. And there is an identity of flowers and you. You are the roses and the flowers of this existence in this body. You can bring joy to all. You can bring happiness to all. The rose doesn't worry about things happening around it. It doesn't think about things like that at all. Why should it? Nor should you. So I relate back to Maggie Thatcher again. She's gone. She's not a threat to humanity. But let's face it, she is a human being. She's not some monster or some creature. She's a human being. So let us respect that. Her deeds may be questionable in the past, but the emphasis is on the past. I put an article on about England. It's in the news thingy about their intervention into Vietnam. They would have you believe, of course, that Britain never entered Vietnam. These men are liars. I know personally. They did several covert operations in Vietnam. They also arranged for the napalm and these huge bombs that they drop on villages. The rape of innocent children by American troops. The torture that they gave the farmers and the peasants. I don't agree with Vietnam's policies, don't get me wrong. But again, they too are human beings, they're not animals. They were treated like animals. They even opened LSD parlours for the American GIs so they can get stoned out of their bloody heads in Saigon. And then they'll go and slaughter innocents. But they didn't just fight a war, they were barbaric. They were worse than the North Vietnamese. They were worse than any human being. These were supposed to be the heroes. And is Britain squeaky clean about using chemical warfare? They are not squeaky clean. They have used it. But they try to remain austere, and of course we wouldn't do a thing like that, would we? I mean, it's not British after all. These little upstarts, these public school assholes that would convince people things like these aren't people in my book. They're completely off the rails. A lot of them are controlled by forces, the dark forces, and they're controlled, and we can't do a lot about it. Well, we can now. We're getting the ability. Each white lighter has been given the ability. That's why the white lighters are under an attack. The only one that's safe, I think, is the Dragon Lady in there. Sorry, Dark Raven one in there.
You are really asking for
See, she's giving out again. Say hello to your fans. See, she's gone quiet now. Works every time.
No, it doesn't.
We had a lovely breakfast, thanks to my son, and a fabulous dinner yesterday, thanks to my son. He did a fabulous job, and he's doing very well indeed. He runs away with a mouth sometimes, but he'll learn. The young are always foolish. Probably that's why they're young.
Yeah, talk about yourself.
I was never young. I was born like this.
God help us.
God isn't here, I'm afraid.
God is everywhere, my son. He is the celestial energy that permeates through every living creature. Ah, dear, oh dear. What a state we get ourselves into. It's lovely to hear from some of your comments. I much appreciate it. I feel like
14 minutes have passed us.
Yes. I'm not talking to myself when I see comments like that. It's a nice warm feeling. And I appreciate it. I noticed a comment was put on the news site, and it inspired me. And I've made several big errors. I didn't think England was involved in the Korean War until I checked at what regiments were there. And I was shocked, completely shocked. I mean, the way you see the great American films, well, let's face it, they were the only ones in the Second World War, they were the only ones in the First World War, and they were the only ones in Vietnam, and they were the only ones in Korea. But they forget about those that were behind them. There was a lot of regiments involved. There were several that received battle honours. So I apologise for any misconception I might have given concerning that. I was surprised.
It's in the past.
Eh? You what, love?
That is in the past.
Yes, the past is in the past.
And it's gone.
But I like the comment that was put on. Unfortunately, they thought it might offend someone, so they removed it, which I thought was sad, because it was relevant. Okay, my son is making radical signals to me, and some of them I don't quite understand, but I'll let you go and enjoy the rest of the day. It's a bit overcast today, which is sad because it's been fine most of the week. You all right, my love? Yeah, well, she's complaining because she scratched her finger yesterday and she thought she might need stitches in her finger. It was only a little scratch.
Shut up, big-headed fool. It wasn't a scratch, it was a knife. Have you ever seen these big, thick, doggy, chewy things? She was trying to cut one in half, and the knife slipped and slid and cut her finger. That's how she did her finger, but it's all right. I hate the sight of blood. Do you want me to tell us some things about you?
Dad, it's
And
17
especially
minutes of
those
my
trousers.
Dad, 17 minutes of nap.
Yes, I know.
So I'd zip it if I were you.
See, I'm getting in trouble again. Okay. Have a good day. Our thoughts are with you. And the blessings to all. Namaste. Om Shanti.